For this episode of Deco Stop, we're as always looking for the human element in some deep sea stories, and there's one such person I'd like to introduce and make the subject of this very episode. This is someone who actually works here at the Deep Sea Centre. The story goes back about 3.5 years ago when we were advertising for a postdoc geoscientist. And we got a few applications, and myself and some geology friends got together to do a series of interviews. We ended up getting a call from somebody who at the time was at Deakin University asking, could they apply for this job? They're not quite finished their PhD yet, but could you still apply? And we said yes. And so we started interviewing this person, and the interview questions are quite prescribed. And so I think sometimes when you get to one of these interviews, you feel that you're not getting the most out of the candidate. So you throw them a curveball. And in this particular interview, I said to this guy, if we put you on a ship with a multi-beam echo sounder system on it and just sent you out to the ocean to map it, would you be good with that? And then suddenly this person who you're going to meet in a second sort of his face just lit up and sort of jokingly said, oh, where I come from, we don't really have a word for the oceans. I was just like, what? And I think that changed the tone of the entire interview. That one exchange was just like, okay, this is interesting. So then we started talking about that, where he was from and how he got where he ended up and stuff like that. And so at the end of the interview, the person I was interviewing with just looked at me and said, you got to get this guy. You got to get this guy. And I was suddenly going, yeah, we've got to get this guy. We've got this guy. Got to get this guy in the sub. And so that was my introduction to Dr. Yakup Niyazi, who joins us today. Hi, Yakup.
Hi, Alan and Thom. Thanks for the nice introduction, Alan. I'm really happy to be here.
First of all, there was an article that came out recently about you and your journey. Going back to what you said in an interview about not really having a word for the oceans, could you explain where it is that you come from and why that relationship with the ocean is quite obscure?
So I am from a place called Aksu, which is in the edge of the Taklamakan Desert in the Central Asia. And the place we live is, the waters are mostly from the ice mountains in Central Asia. The rivers just flowing down and then just disappears in the desert. So our region is one of the places that it's the farthest place from any of the ocean in the world. We actually have the word for ocean in our language, but not many stories. We do have some kind of sayings or fairy tellings about the ocean, but you can count them by your fingers. So it's very limited information about the ocean, not only because it's so far, and also like it's not accessible for us traveling or something like that from long ago until now. So we feel like when we say ocean, the information is mostly from the movies or TV shows saying like people swimming in the beach, laying down on the beach, swimming in the shallow water. So I can imagine most of us, they imagine the ocean just 200 meters from the coast to, where they can see. But the power and the resource in the ocean, we have no idea about that. Even like the animals in the ocean, we only know, everything looks like fish, it's a fish, and then the other animals we don't know. We don't have any idea about that. So yeah, that's where I am from, and that's the previous link between me and the ocean.
So this is the thing that I think is incredible. What age were you when you first saw the ocean?
It will be my 27 years old when I see the ocean. Yes.
Yeah.
Before that, I saw kind of the sea, which is like very restricted areas. And the waters are not, not give you the feeling of the ocean. It's just yellow, very a lot of sediments on that. Yeah, but the real ocean, I saw it. It is when I was 27 years old.
So I reckon most people, the vast majority of human beings, probably don't recall the first time they saw the ocean, right? It's just something that most of the world's population live probably pretty close to the sea, or at least have been exposed to that. Do you have a reflection on what that was like? That moment when you're a fully fledged, mature, smart adult seeing something which everyone else takes for granted and something which is so huge, but seeing it for the first time, what did that feel like?
Yeah, I feel like very fresh, even that wind is from the ocean, and the water is like the beach or the sand I was standing was like so wet. Always give me a kind of freshness of everything. even before I saw the ocean, I feel like I don't want to saw it, because once you achieve your dream, you feel a little bit empty, right? I don't want to have that kind of feeling. I just want to say, okay, I'm going to see the ocean tomorrow. I'm going to see the ocean tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, but when the day come, I just jump down and then stay longer in the water, feeling, that the splashing,
Yeah.
all kind of different sounds, and looking at what is underneath, looking at the sediments, looking at this sand ripples under the sea. Like, it is quite unimaginable to previous me. We always have, like, sand dunes, ripples, or in the desert.
Yeah.
But when I see the ocean, it has the same textures. It has same dunes. So I didn't feel so much unfamiliar or unlinked to the sea. It's just changing of the medium from the air to the water that forms this different kind of environment. The water gives me like a more life and more fresh, more moisture. Everything is quite exciting.
Your career is obviously very heavily marine. You are a marine geoscientist, a very good one at that. Did you already decide you wanted to be a marine scientist before seeing the ocean, or was it the seeing the ocean that put you down that path?
No, I can say it is not because of my choice. It is something I had to because after my graduation, I tried to study overseas, but for graduate students, it's hard to get a scholarship. A lot of logistic and oil company as a geological engineer. But that time I was working, but still keep studying English. So I see no future being an oil engineer in the land. Like, every day we go out, we do the similar job. Yeah, just calculating how much oil we have extracted, and then what's the plan. Are we doing factory kind of things? And then it's everyone can do, and it's very routine job you do every day. No excitement. So I said, why don't I study or go to graduate school? For graduate school, we need to take many exams. Instead of doing that, if I try to study overseas, I just need to take English exam, one exam.
Yeah.
So,
So at this point in the story, where are you? What country are you in at this point?
it is in China, in the northwest part of China.
Yep.
So at that time, if you want to do a graduate study, you need to take math, English, your major course, and also politics. Like, a lot of energy you will need to consume for preparation for these exams. So instead of doing like 4 or 5 exams, learn just one subject, take the international English exam, and then try to apply overseas universities. And yeah, I was applied several universities, and then very lucky enough, I got a scholarship from Haifa University in Israel to do a master student. So I don't know much about the Haifa University, but I know the city was just close to the Mediterranean Sea. So I guess that maybe we can use the Mediterranean Sea as a natural laboratory to how the Earth developed. Like, very good place for studying geology, especially marine geology.
Yeah.
The other universities I have applied, they are mostly like a very traditional geological courses. So I wanted to try something a little bit advanced, and then from several universities, I just picked up the University of Haifa. So these things are, I can say, it is not really from my choice. I just picked the ones that who gives me scholarship. So I went there. And then, yeah, quite happy from the study over there. As I said, like, they have access to the Mediterranean Sea and also Dead Sea. Perfect examples to study paleoclimate, plate tectonics, and sedimentology, everything about geology.
There was a really good story you told about feeling you were quite a good swimmer, but most of the water you've experienced is sort of glacial meltwater, and how different getting into the ocean felt compared to those water bodies.
Oh, yes. So we have like rivers, which is at most maybe like 20 meters wide and then maybe like 5 meters deep. So when I was a child, we just, in the summer, we just go with friends and then swim. We call it swim. I think we still can, we still swim, but it's like a different style. And then maybe it actually consumes a lot of energy. It's a flowing river. So actually I think it's like much easier to swim because of the water is moving. So I just need to move a little bit and then the water just push you up and then you can move around. When I was around the Mediterranean, so we went to the sea, like we all prepared to swim, go down. Everyone went down and then I also tried, but swimming in the ocean is really different and it's very make me very tired, like just swimming a couple of meters and then I need to go back. When we swim in the river, we just have like one position. We always keep our heads above the water. But when I see the other people swimming the ocean, yeah, they can put their heads under the water and then like a proper swim. But so it was like really different experience swimming in different water bodies. And until that day, I was telling my friends, "Oh, I could swim." But then no, I could swim only in my like a village or town standard. But if you put me in the international criteria, no, I'm like a baby, I couldn't swim.
And to get the Dead Sea as well, because that's a whole other level as well, the salt crystals and how buoyant you are. Did you get to go in it too?
Yes. So it was also like a very unique experience. Actually, we went several times, like we have a few trips. Then my supervisor, Nicholas Waldman, take us like several students go there, and even we do camping around the sea. There are some Bedouin tribes in around the area as well. So we meet there, having their food, and then they like dancing, singing their traditional songs. It was like very unique, very unique experience coming from center of the desert to the Middle East and then being a guest in the Bedouin tribes, dancing with them. It was like a very unique experience. Then at the same day, we also went to the Dead Sea, collecting some samples, use it to paleoclimate and like sea level construction kind of studies. Then also we went to like a real tour to swim, go inside. So it was a very, very good place. The water is actually very, very clean, and then can see that salts, it was the crystals under the water, but it's like really salty. If you put your hands in the water and then if you try to open your eyes, it is the worst experience, and then you need to wash it again and again and again.
And it's unexpected how quickly you float. You get up to about your waist and then you bob up like a cork. It's really strange.
Yes. Even the challenge is diving or sinking in the water. That's quite different from other sea or oceans.
And if you only know fresh water, that is very alien. That is a very strange place.
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like from salinity, very low to extreme salinity. It was like, one extreme to another.
So I think at the point that we first met, at that point you were already in Australia doing a PhD, and I think for the benefit of the listeners, to explain that Yakup's story has another twist to it, which I think makes it even more interesting and that sometimes a little tragic, is that Yakup is from the Uyghur ethnic group, and we won't talk too much about the politics that goes on there, but they're from northwest of China, and there's lots of reasons why it's very challenging time to be where Yakup is from. And so you have to leave home, right? You have to basically leave your country essentially for good.
Yes. Yeah.
That I think is something that I remember when we started talking, when you first started here, and there was some stories that came out of that which I just thought were just insane in this day and age, that's still a thing. I feel that's another thread to the story that makes where you are now even more interesting and even more admirable in terms of where you've come as a person and what a lot of this probably means to you in one way or another. But you started here, you're now deep sea guy. Well, let's talk about your PhD for a second. What was your PhD on?
So my PhD is in marine geoscience, I can say, or marine environmental science, because we don't have like a geology department, but we have a paleontology department. So That's where my PhD from. So it was like co-supervised with my supervisor, who is a habitat mapping person, and then a second supervisor is paleontologist, but the third supervisor or my advisory board is from Geological Survey of Victoria. So they are not officially in my supervisor list, but they gave me a lot of support. So that's how I become a marine geoscientist or geologist in a school or university that doesn't have a geological department.
So then things started getting really interesting there, because when we started here, whatever it was, 3-4 years ago, the intention was to set up this deep sea center in Australia and use a ship called Pangea, which was intended to be your mapping platform, which it was. We did a couple of good jobs on it. But I remember us having a conversation about 1.5 years ago that you'd already got yourself on a massive Pangea trip out to Christmas Island to do loads of mapping there. You'd already been on Dagon, that's the deepest echo stand in the world. We just got you on Falcor as well to go over to the East Pacific. And I think at the time we just had an offer to go and investigate as well. I think we didn't do that one in the end. It was getting to the point where it was just like everybody wants a piece of Yakup. Which is great, but
that thing is good.
Well, it's good until you realize how quickly you can generate a hell of a lot of data, right? And then you're like,
yes. Even like at that time, I was thinking like in 2 years' time, I was like almost like 4 different ships, and then each of the ship was like so unique, as it's like a world-class research ships. Like it's so lucky to be part of that.
it just felt for that year or so, you're just knocking off every major ship of the world. Just like, oh, here's another one. And people are genuinely saying, a lot of biological ecology cruises are going out and they say, do you have a geoscientist? And you go, yeah, sure. Phone Yakup and get them out.
Yeah.
But I think the other sort of turn on this was, I mean, your work ethic, I think, is brilliant. So just for the part of the story, I think Yakup comes in every morning at 9 o'clock and sits at his desk till 5 o'clock. You very rarely seem to break from that, and you just sit there. I'm so in admiration of the way in which you work, because you very rarely come off your computer. It's just writing, analysing, 5 o'clock, stuff out, gone. I just think you're one of the most consistent people I've ever worked with. It's brilliant. And so, that's part because we were generating all this data, so we have all this stuff from across the Pacific, in trenches and some seamounts and everything else. Well, what spurred this whole conversation on was the last expedition that our ship Dagon did before it went to dry dock this year. We decided after Antarctica and the Falklands Escarpment to go and have a little look around some of the fracture zones in the Atlantic. And I had left that expedition to Yakup and Denise from work to do what they wanted, really. So, by that point, I had mentally checked out. It was like, here you go, have a trip on the ship. Go and do something. So, tell us about that trip.
That trip was a fantastic one. It was my first trip as a co-scientist. Denise and I are like doing all of the planning, coordination, and the connect necessary permits if needed. It is quite a lot of work. I never thought like, chief scientist, this will be so busy. I thought like only that other scientists will do the work, but it's not. So I think it's very worthwhile to everyone to be a chief scientist once in a while. So yeah, they know the workload.
Yeah, they know the pain we have to go through.
Yeah. So originally we planned everything, diving points, landing points. We put I think we spent quite a bit of time on the planning, but at the end it doesn't go as we planned. So we had to change our plan to Atlantic Fracture Zone based on our next plan after the expedition. We started this from zero again, and then we need to find a good locations geologically and biologically. So yeah, we choose that Straco Fracture Zone. It is quite exciting. All the people we gather in Brazil, and then on board, going through the target area, which I think we have spent 4 days and night. It's around 1,300 kilometers away from the port, and then we always 10 knots per hour. Yeah, so it's quite a time to arrive the region.
But the problem we have with it is a geological problem, because the big trenches, by the nature of subduction in the forearc, is the trenches are always near land. And so you can get to 10,000 meters of water in less than 20 hours from the nearest port sometimes. But the fracture zones, because they're part of a spreading center, they're mid-ocean ridge. And so
It's just quite far away from any land.
Yeah. So even when we're planning out next year's operations in the fracture zones, every single one starts with a 4-day transit out and a 4-day transit back. There just aren't any close, whereas from Guam to Challenger Deep is less than a day.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like 4 days, we planned again and again, like everything's changing. I think the most of the unfortunate thing is like when we did our first lander day and then second day is like a diving day, but that day we found a fishing ship around our expedition area and then we need to stay away because we don't know how they're operating and then if they are using any kind of net or not. So we changed our plan. It was like very nice weather, so we need to go north a little bit. But then the plan was changed, and then all the deployments were postponed to the next day. Yeah, eventually we did two very good diving along the transform fault, and then landers as well. At the beginning, we planned like 6 diving days, but we only did 2 for many reasons. But it's like a quite good expedition, especially we are planning to come this region or around this place. So I think it's very good pilot study. We have observed very the reach of sea cucumbers. Yeah, some very interesting geological formations like the sinkholes or depressions we have presented in the conversation article.
So it's cool because I remember when we were organizing this, my idea was to not be involved in this particular trip. It was very much to let you and Denise decide what it is you want to do and how you're going to do it. And I think she came to me one day and says, "How do you decide who dives?" Because I mean, the majority of what I kind of do most of, or I have historically probably done more than anyone, but that's because historically I've been the only one there. But now there's lots more people in the mix, and it's like, it's a good point. How do you prioritize? Do you give it to someone who's never dove before? But then shouldn't you give it, if you've only got one left to do, shouldn't you give it to the person who's going to get the most out of it or who's best at it? It's a difficult one. There's no right or wrong answer to how do you decide which scientist goes in the sub. Anyway, she came in and she's like, well, should I just do the first 2 and then be like, Yakup, do the other 2 or do one by one? And I remember just sitting going, that doesn't matter. Just put Yakup in it. Just do it. I think she emailed me actually from the ship and she's like, here are my options. It's like, put Yakup in it because that'll be a great story. It's like, and here we are. It totally paid off. So anyway, tell us about the dive.
Actually, dive, I think it was before I go, I know perhaps I do the diving and then I talk to my family. She's saying, okay, I'm a little bit worried, I said, no worries. It's all okay. We have so well experienced technicians, pilot, everyone is like, so experienced and then don't worry. But when I really went to that point, I am going to inside the sub, I was a little bit worried.
Well, your first mistake is telling your family. You don't tell your family you're going to dive in a submarine. I said categorically I was going out with this outfit, but I will never dive in the submarine. And then the phone rang one day from a mysterious foreign phone number. And she picked up the phone and said, "You did a dive in the submarine, didn't you?" And I was like, "Yes."
Oh,
it's better to tell them after you've done it. Just a little.
Yes, I just told them like before I fly, and then I said maybe, and then like the day I was diving, I didn't tell her, but it's like a 12 hours time difference, and then like I didn't call her in time, and then she realized that maybe I am doing something that I don't want to tell her. She told me like she stayed awake all the night waiting for my message, and then after I finished dive, I talked to her like after all the celebrations and then reading your email, it was like so emotional. As at that point I called her like, oh, she was also happy, so happy.
I thought you were going to say she was mad. So after all that, and then I cut Pele off from the life.
Yeah, at the beginning a little bit mad, but then like all good, all went good, so she's so happy. Yeah, so from my point of view, like when I was standing on the sub, like I was a little bit worried, but then okay, like it's this point, and then or like we have the best team, so I just jumped in and then talked to just I think I talked a lot, like from that from surface to the bottom. I just keep talking to Ruben. That's like from like his family and then my family, all like work we have been done before, like different kinds of.
To be fair, the amount of conversations that happen in that sub are incredible because so many people spend, some days up to 8 hours in a confined, darkened ball. You've got nothing else to do but talk to someone. So it's a very quick way of learning a lot about someone. So
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
You cannot like, it's a very rare chance to speak with someone, only two of you together, and then, like 2 hours or 8 hours together.
Yeah.
It's like a very rare chance. Like, so yeah, we at the beginning also like a little bit very waves are a little bit strong, not strong, but when we are on the sub and on the surface, before detaching from the ship, it's like a little bit shaking. And then I have some seasickness, so I got some pills, so I feel much better. But I just like, I have clothes. I thought it will be like very cold, so I have much clothes on. But at the surface, it's really really hot, like 32 degrees. But with the moisture, it's really
Yes.
yes. And then going down, like we have like after we reached like 15 degrees, it was so comfortable. The around is like is dark but very quiet. It's the only sound is from the sub, but otherwise it's like very very quiet. And then I start to think all my journey from the desert to the ocean, and then from the ocean surface to the ocean bottom. It was like, actually I was like quite moved by all my decisions and my, I can say maybe my hard work or my like very strong determination that takes me from my my hometown, my small village, to Australia, and then from Australia to mid-Atlantic ridge. Not only the expedition itself, now even going to the down of the bottom of the sea, it was like quite touching. And like sometimes I think this kind of things, and then I appreciate everyone. And also like I think I was like moved by myself, like, okay, Yakup, you are so strong, you this, leave this. And then it's like very, very short time period. Like, I mean, I just finished my PhD in 2022, and then in just like 3 years, I could be a co-scientist, and then doing
Now you're a
expedition.
deep sea explorer.
Yes, and then deep sea explorer. It was like quite amazing. This is, I don't know how many people will have this privilege to do this,
I've had conversations about this with people on the bottom as well. Particular, I don't know if you know a guy called Al Scott, who's one of our pilots.
Oh, yes, yeah.
He's a Scottish guy as well. And there was one time early last year we were in the sub down at, I don't know, it was like 8,000 meters or something. And we're sort of climbing along the bottom. I think we just released the weights were coming up, and he was talking about, he said that you were born in Irvine, right? And Irvine's a town in Scotland. I was like, yeah. And he lives south near there. And he goes, for two guys called Alan who were born into one of the most deprived areas of Scotland in the 70s.
Wow.
We didn't do that bad, did we? And it's kind of like, yeah, we did all right. Hey, it's not your average life. But yeah, and I think it is quite an emotional thing, right? It does make you reflect a little bit on like, how the hell did I get here?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what depth did you go to? What's the big number?
The biggest number is 4,980 meters.
Nice.
Yeah, almost 5 kilometers. Yeah.
Yeah, solid. Good.
Confidently abyssal.
Exactly.
Confident.
Yeah. There's no fringes anywhere on that one, right?
Yeah, no skirting the edges. That's right in the middle.
So that was right up the axis of the fracture zone, right?
Yes.
Must have been.
Yeah.
So what did you see?
Actually, it looks like from the biologically, it is, we see a lot of sea cucumbers, but we don't see any fish or something like that. So as a geoscientist, they're a little bit resembling where I am from. It's not like quite desert, but I can feel, it's like a little bit, not ripples, but like very large size undulation of the seafloor. And sometimes we could see kind of like sargassum settled down, a little bit brownish on the ground. it looks like, yeah, very, very similar to like the desert or a little bit Gobi, like.
I love
These
the
are-
fact that you've been on this massive journey that took decades all around the world through
Yes.
trees and everything else. You finally get to the bottom of the ocean. You never knew.
think that
It's like,
is,
oh, it's just the same as home.
That is like a circle of life, you do so much effort, and then at the end you find, okay, it's the same. Like
Yeah. It was like when I grew up. Oh, well, yeah.
from that point, it's like a little bit similar, but also some unsimilar or unique things are that sea cucumbers, they're a lot in number. So even like the other dive as well, we mostly see cucumbers. So we don't know why there are so many in here, and then why we don't have other species living in this place. And also we like it was like quite soft sediments. We rarely or we didn't see any big rocks. Very few places there are some big rocks, but it's like very soft sediments. So I think that's because we have a lot of earthquakes, because it's like just on the axis of the transform fault, earthquakes and landslides, just producing or weathering that kind of sediments, and then that accumulated on the pockets.
Was it your dive you found those mysterious holes?
It was another dive in the junction of the transform fault and the mid-ocean ridge axis. So it was another dive. In my dive, like almost all of them are like soft sediments and then sea cucumbers. Every time we see one special fauna or animal in my world, we just come closely and then take a photo, and then we continue our dive. So yeah, it was like quite unique, with full of sea cucumbers and full of soft sediments, no rocks, no bedrocks exposed. So yeah, that's very different.
Could I ask you both something actually that might be impossible to put into words? Like I've probably watched hundreds of hours of the deep sea bed, but it is always through a machine. And even though you think that's like super accurate, like it has its own white balance, it has its own autofocus. There's these things that remove you from it. Is there anything that just feels different when it's with your own eyes, when it's with your own hardware?
Yes.
And
100%.
can you put it into words?
No.
No. Okay.
So I think it will be different because I have glass always on me. So I have an eye issue. I feel like, this lens or this glass is just, it makes me see better, but I feel like there's kind of a wall between me and then the things I am looking at. So I believe that there is definitely that window or from the viewport is really doing something for our observation and the sea bottom. Maybe it's not physically or scientifically, but from my heart or from my feeling, I feel there's still a wall between me and the sea floor.
But I would turn this whole conversation on its head and say, I've seen the ocean on TV loads and loads and loads. Is it different seeing it in real life? Like there is, right?
Yes,
It's all the other little things, all the things, and so you can describe the ocean without ever seeing it. But does that?
Yes. We just
Does that
come
make it the
much
same?
closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how Antarctica felt. It was like I got there and it's like, it's exactly as I thought it was going to be, but I wasn't prepared for it.
Yeah.
Yes, it looks like the pictures, but it doesn't feel like the pictures.
It was like that old analogy that Patrick Leahy from Triton used to use about, imagine your daughter's wedding. If you watched the whole thing on video, you would know everyone was there, what everyone was wearing, what all the speeches were, what the songs were, who danced with who, you'd know everything. But that's not the same as being there yourself.
Yes, that's true. Yep.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it is very difficult to put into words. It's very difficult to articulate what's different, but it is different. It just is. It just is all right, trust me. Anyway, back to the story. Right, so whilst you were underwater, there was a few texts and emails flying back and forth to me when I was in Edinburgh, and we were having little chats about various things that we basically agreed, like, when Yakup gets out of that sub, make sure there's a big bash goes, make sure there's a big party. So tell us about what happened when you got out at the end of the big dive.
Oh, yes, like it was like very big surprise. I know it is like, it's mostly myself doing what it means to me, but I didn't think also like the other members of science team or crew or captain, I didn't think they also took it to another level. When I just getting off the sub, like I see everyone is coming to the deck and then taking photos. When I come down, like I hug with everyone, and there's a champagne. They couldn't open it incorrectly, so like a little bit delay with that, but it was like quite emotional. I was excited, but I can feel that my fellow they excited even more than me, especially Denise and Haley. It meant a lot to me, but I feel like they're also so happy for me.
I mean, it meant a lot to them too. I think you're one of these guys who people see.
Yeah,
The story of how you got there, and they were just really super happy for you, as was I, as
Yeah.
was everybody else. It was a great day, actually. I think it was one of those, if you had to write the 5 years of the Deep Sea Centre's history, that the day you did that dive would be up there, and one of the big highlights, because it was just it was just cool. It was just super cool, and it was obviously
and then,
things
like-
happened.
Yeah, and after that, like most of the crew members could be on the deck, but also only the one couldn't come is the chef. And then when we come to dinner, even the chef was like, he made a very nice cake, and then come to like very quietly beside me. I didn't notice. So like suddenly saying, no, congratulations, your big dive. So I was like, yeah, so happy. Everyone is happy for me, and then I saw they are happy for me. I even more happier, like the reaction, the chemistry last like a couple of days, this kind of
Yeah. I did get a message from the ship saying it looks like we've got Yakup 2.0. I think you must have been walking around with a particular swagger on after that. I think people thought you had been upgraded.
Yeah. I told them like I was a camel before from the desert, but now I am a shark swimming in the ocean.
Very cool. Love it. I love it. It's such a great story. I think we're at a point where, this was the great thing, but this is not when it ends. So I'm talking to you now, Yakup. That's, there will be more. We're doing this now for years. So now you just need to think of more and more ridiculous ways to outdo yourself.
Yeah, how do you one up this?
Go deeper, go longer, go faster, go bolder, hotter. Yakup Niyazi, thank you very much for joining us on Deco Stop today. I'll see you in about 30 seconds when you open your office door.
Don't let him in.
No,
Don't let him
no,
in.
I will not open.
If you don't open the door, you don't dive again.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for listening my story, and yeah, see you next time or 30 seconds.